Thunder rumbled over the jagged peaks of Stone Mount as Rowan darted through the forest shadows, her basket swinging with every step. She cursed her luck. The rains had come early tonight. The elders said nothing good ever happened after dark in the woods, and she believed them. Her breath froze as she reached the border of the forbidden grove, a twisting mass of roots and moss, lit by an unnatural greenish glow seeping from beneath the earth. She remembered grandmother's warnings, but desperation for new herbs pressed her on. A fleeting shimmer caught her eye, a plant unlike any she'd seen, its petals pulsing with veins of gold light. Heart-pounding, Rowan reached out. The stem was oddly warm beneath her fingers, the touch electric. She plucked one glowing sprig and hurried back, but the forest seemed to close behind her, whispering in a tongue she couldn't quite understand. Torchlight flickered on the edge of the village square. Old Kellen the carpenter was waiting with arms crossed. "You're late, Rowan. Not scouring the wilds after sundown, eh?" She hesitated, tucking the plant beneath her cloak. "Just needed more fever root. The stocks are low." Kellen frowned. "That why you look spooked, or did something chase you back?" Before she could answer, a stranger emerged from the rain-slick road, cloak dark, eyes sharp and knowing. The villagers called him Ash, never more than a shadow at the tavern's edge. He watched Rowan closely, then said quietly, "You found it, didn't you? The light in the grove." "You don't know what you're talking about," she shot back, voice strained. Ash smiled with secret sadness. "I do, and it's not meant for us." That night, as Rowan pressed the luminous plant into a glass jar, her window rattled open on a gust of wind. From the darkness outside, a magpie landed on the sill and cocked its head. In a rough, croaking voice it spoke, "What is found must be returned, lest all things become undone." Rowan stared, stunned as the bird vanished into the storm. For a long moment she stood frozen, listening to the creaks of the old house and the distant, endless sighing of the trees. The plant's glow pulsed stronger, shadows writhing across the walls. Rowan wondered what ancient line she had just crossed, and if there was any way back. Morning dawned gray and damp, mist curling around Rowan's cottage like searching fingers. She barely slept, every creak magnified by the magpie's impossible words echoing in her mind. The gleaming plant continued to pulse gently behind frosted glass, casting wild patterns across the walls. Keen to make sense of what happened, Rowan rushed to the market square, clutching her discovery in a cloth pouch. The village bustled as usual, but Rowan noticed strange glances. People whispered, and a blackhound barked out a riddle, clear as anything. "Feed me and I live, give me drink and I die. What am I?" Not just words, but understanding in its amber eyes. Rowan gaped. Jonah the baker stood frozen nearby, caught between fright and disbelief. "Did that dog speak?" "You heard it," Rowan whispered. "It started last night." She hesitated, watching Ash emerge from the shadow of old Kellen's stall. Ash's tone was urgent. "It's begun? You need to show me what you brought back, now." Kellen scoffed. He pulled Rowan aside, voice low. "You risking us for a weed? This isn't normal, Rowan. Stop before someone gets hurt." But Rowan shook her head. The consequences were already spinning out of control. She led Kellen and Ash to her cottage. As she unwrapped the glowing sprig, Ash drew a slow breath. "Moonvine. I've seen stories in the northern woods. Wherever it blooms, the veil between here and something else grows thin. It's tied to the old treaties, the ones the elders keep quiet about." Kellen paced, jaw clenched. "Are you saying we're cursed? That's it?" Ash shook his head. "Not yet, but if the balance tips further, the woods will wake." Suddenly, the jar trembled. Light burst from within. Rowan leapt back as the glass shattered, spilling the wild, glowing roots across her table. From outside, animal howls rose, a cacophony, desperate and wrong. Ash leaned close. "You want to fix this? We need to return it. But the grove has changed since last night. It'll test us. And if we fail, there's no telling what will pass through." Rowan felt a chill settle deep inside her. She'd wanted to help her village, to prove herself more than just the herbalist's apprentice. Now she stood on the edge of something ancient and vast, and the whole village teetered with her. "Then we set out tonight," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. "Whatever it takes." Night fell fast as Rowan, Kellen, and Ash steeled themselves at the forest's edge. The village shimmered behind them, but the grove's glow had grown brighter, snaking its strange gold veins outward like fingers through the pines. Ash's demeanor had shifted. a sense of urgency threading his quiet voice. Follow close. The magic's awake now. It will twist the paths in our minds if it senses doubt. Kellen grunted, gripping his woodcutter's axe. Still not sure if I'm more afraid of the curse or you two. If we see talking bugs, I'm out. Rowan forced a smile. That makes 3 of us, but we stick together. And Kellen, thank you. You didn't have to come. He shrugged, softer now. My father always said, face the darkness beside your friends, not behind their backs. Maybe I'm just stubborn. The forest's hush swallowed their words. As Rowan stepped forward, she sensed the mood change. The hush warped into whispers, some familiar, others old as stone. The moonvine's glow in her pouch pulsed stronger, answering the grove's call. Branches arched above, entwined with pale light, and shadows seemed to bend toward them, watching. Suddenly, a small fox appeared on the path, blocking their way. Its eyes glimmered with human sadness. 3 who trespassed, 1 who knows, and 1 who doubts. What will you trade for safe passage? Kellen balked. I don't answer to woodland riddles. Ash stepped up, calm but wary. We bring what was taken, let us through. The fox's tail flicked. The price is memory, 1 true thing from each of you left at the gate. Before Rowan could protest, she felt a strange tug in her chest. She remembered her mother's lullaby, the one she could barely recall, a warm touch slipping away. Kellen winced, eyes watering suddenly. My first finished table, he muttered. It's gone. I can't see it anymore. Ash bowed his head. A name I once had, forgotten. The fox vanished, leaving silence in its wake. The way forward cleared as roots untangled, but Rowan felt hollower, as if a piece of herself was left in the soil. Ash laid a hand on her shoulder. The grove only asks for what you hold dear, but it's not the last toll. We must press on. Deeper now, the woods felt alive with hungry possibility, and Rowan couldn't shake the sense that she and her companions had only started to pay the true cost of redemption. Their footsteps sank in the soft moss as the trio pushed deeper into the heart of the grove. Moonlight spilled in strange winding patterns. Twigs snapped beneath their boots, and the air shimmered with the scent of peat and wildflowers. Every so often Rowan glanced at Kellen. The burly carpenter, usually so brash, walked quietly now, brow furrowed as he stared at the path ahead. She wondered what he saw, or no longer could. Snatches of hushed voices followed them. Sometimes giggles, sometimes a cry. Bring it back! Bring it home! Rowan's hands trembled around the pouch, desperate to hang on. But Ash pressed forward, eyes sharp, his steps sure. After a long time, they reached a clearing where old stones stood like teeth around a sunken pool. Something shimmered within, a memory, a hope, or perhaps just moonlight on water. Rowan approached, drawn by a compulsion she did not understand. A great owl landed on a branch above. Its feathers glittered almost metallic. You carry the root that broke the silence, it said, voice low and echoing. But the pact is more than roots and riddles. Show me your truth, a flaw you fear most. Kellen shuffled beside Rowan, muttering, Doesn't the forest want anything easy? Ash motioned Rowan forward. This is for you. The moonvine chose you first. Rowan's throat felt tight. She placed her free hand on the stone circle and spoke barely above a whisper. I fear I'll always be the helpless one, the girl who can heal an injury but never stand in the way of real danger. Something in the stones shifted, and the pool shimmered as if approving. The owl nodded. Do not return what you cannot change within, it intoned, and then softer, as if addressing all. You are closer to the heart, but beware, the roots below crave as fiercely as the leaves above. Ash waited until the owl melted into the darkness, then turned to Rowan. You faced it. That matters. I wasn't so brave the last time I walked a path like this. Kellen stomped his foot as if to chase away the gloom. Then let's do better, all of us. Rowan, you're not helpless. Not after what I've seen tonight. Rowan grinned, her pulse steadier. Despite everything, some lost courage flickered alive inside her. The path ahead grew wilder, trees twisting closer, but for the first time she felt less like a trespasser, and more like someone finding her place. Still, every step forward carried the weight of the moonvine's promise, and the threat of what waited if they failed. Lightning spidered silently through the clouds above as Rowan, Ash, and Kellen moved deeper, the air thick as syrup. The path narrowed, pulling in close. Rowan found herself leading, senses sharpened by the loss and confession she'd left behind at the stones. Her grip tightened on the glowing moonvine sprig, pulsing quick and alive. Kellen trudged just behind, voice gruff but low. Feels like the woods are watching, waiting for us to make a single mistake. Ash, what now? Ash surveyed the gloom. The heart of the grove lies near, but the guardians won't yield easily. Each one tests a piece of what binds us. If we're not honest, we won't be allowed through. A hush rippled through the air, and suddenly the trees bent open, revealing something startling. A pair of deer, silver-pelted and sleek, standing motionless amid a nest of violet lilies. Their eyes glowed. Rowan sensed not threat, but sadness. One deer gazed at her, words blooming in Rowan's mind as if spoken aloud. If you could undo one moment, would you? What would you risk? Kellen dropped his axe, shaking. I'd take back my fear, the time I left my brother to face a storm alone. I thought I was protecting him, but I only protected myself. Ash was quiet, haunted. I would risk my own past. I haven't always acted wisely. I traded comfort for secrecy. If undoing that puts everything at risk, so be it. The deer turned to Rowan, expectation heavy in their gaze. She choked out, I'd undo the night I let my father go into the woods alone. I was afraid. If I risked speaking, maybe he wouldn't be gone. Lilies burst open, their perfume dizzying and sweet. The deer bowed deeply and then vanished, their forms melting into mist. The forest relaxed, light softening. For the first time since entering, the three felt the pressure lessen. You both faced your past, Ash said, voice steadier. None of us can undo ourselves, but we can make it mean something now. The heart isn't far. I sense it beating through the roots. Rowan wiped her cheeks, surprised to find herself smiling. For the first time, she felt less tangled by regret. Let's keep going. Time's running out. The grove's heart beckoned, but so too did its dangers. Twisted shadows shifted at the edges of Rowan's sight, and every step forward now felt like stepping into a new world, one where the rules of old no longer held sway, and where the fate of the village dangled by a single fragile sprig of light. They pressed on, following thin trails that knotted and unwound beneath their feet. Overhead, the trees joined branches in winding arches, light filtering through leaves that shone bronze and emerald. The deeper they ventured, the stranger things became. Coiled vines stirred like snakes, flowers hummed, and Rowan could almost sense the pulse of something immense, ancient and upset. Kellen lagged, shivers running down his arms. Never seen the old woods like this. Not in the worst storms. Ash nodded. It's awake now. What happens here shapes what follows. A sudden gust spun leaves from the ground. In their wake a narrow bridge appeared, roots and branches twisted together. Beneath it a churning shadow, impossibly deep. Across here? Rowan asked, steeling herself. It's the only way, said Ash, but the bridge tests trust. We move as one. Kellen eyed the span, jaw grinding. Trust is easy to say, not so easy to do. Ash stepped forward, careful. Rowan followed, feeling the bridge tremble. Kellen hesitated before joining, but at Rowan's nod, he placed a wide hand on her shoulder. Slowly, step by step, they crossed above the swirling shadows. Halfway, the bridge writhed and a voice rose from below, echoing each of their deepest doubts back at them. You are not enough. You will fail. Alone, abandoned, always. Rowan's heart hammered. She looked at Kellen, who squeezed her arm harder. Not this time, Rowan. We move together. I'm not letting go. Ash, though his brow beaded with sweat, held his place at the front. The only way is forward. Trust me. Together, pushing past the echoing voices, they reached the far bank. The bridge untwisted behind them and sank quietly into the moss. Rowan sagged with relief. I almost believed it. Those voices, I think they're mine. That's what the grove does, Ash said gently. It tries to pull cracks wider. Kellen managed a wan smile. I'd have fallen if you two weren't here. They looked ahead. The woods had grown even stranger, the very air charged with possibility. Hidden eyes blinked from knotholes, and the moonvine glowed brightest of all. Rowan realized she trusted her companions more now than ever before, even Ash, whose secrets had lingered like shadows. She squared her shoulders and nodded forward, determination renewed. The grove's heart, a place of both destruction and healing, awaited just beyond the next tangle of roots. Rowan, Ash, and Kellen paused at the threshold of an unnatural clearing, where the trees circled tightly like sentinels. At its center was a colossal tree, its bark silvered, its bare roots weaving in and out of the earth, glowing with veins of gold and green. The heart of the grove. The moonvine pulsed, tugging in Rowan's palm, almost eager to return. Before they moved, the air thickened around them. Figures shimmered into being, spirits shaped like deer, magpies, old crones with leafy hair, their eyes bright and their presence heavy. Rowan swallowed. Spirits, are these the ones who made the pact? Ash nodded, his jaw set. They remember every promise and every betrayal. He turned, bowing his head. We come to restore what was taken. We ask for mercy. An ancient spirit stepped forward, voice echoing on the wind. 3 hearts, tangled by fate. One bears a gift not meant for mortal hands, yet brought into our world by longing and loss. Will you give what you gained and accept what must be lost? Rowan gripped the moonvine, voice quivering. I only wanted to heal. I didn't think. Kellen cut in, eyes fierce. We accept. Whatever it takes, just let the village be safe. The spirits looked to Ash, whose silence was colder than frost. Finally he spoke. We do this together. I will reveal what I've hidden. A hush fell. Ash stepped into the spirit's glow. His form flickered at the edges. Rowan realized he was not entirely human. Faint, twisting bark lined his skin. He met their questions head on. I am half spirit, half man, a result of the last broken pact. I walked among you to learn if mortals could be trusted again. Kellen stumbled back, stunned. All this time you were one of them? Ash's look was gentle, regretful. I am both, but I chose to help you. Rowan found courage in her chest. Then help us now. You know both sides. How do we truly mend what's broken? Ash's voice held hope. We admit truth, our need, our sorrow, our mistakes. We choose the village and the grove over ourselves. The spirits nodded as one. Let the right begin. As light gathered, swirling higher, Rowan knew every secret would soon be bare, every shadow revealed. Whether the grove would accept what they offered or ask for more remained to be seen. The heart of the forest beat faster, and with it, the fate of everything Rowan loved. The clearing brightened with swirling lights, casting every sorrow, secret, and hope into stark relief. The spirits formed a ring around the trio, their faces shifting between kind and severe. The ground itself trembled, as if holding its breath. Ash stepped to the front, speaking both in the old tongue and in words Rowan understood. We seek forgiveness for breaking your pact. We return the moonvine and our truths. Let us atone, not only as wanderers, but as keepers of this land. Kellen stepped up, voice trembling but clear. I feared what I didn't understand. I fought the woods when I should have listened. I want to keep my home and my friends safe. The spirit's gaze turned to Rowan. She clung to the pulsing root, feeling every lesson, loss, and longing rumble through her veins. At last she knelt and offered the moonvine, holding it between herself and the waiting tree. Take it back, she said, tears dampening her cheeks, and give me the wisdom to mend what I've harmed. I promise to protect both village and grove from now on. A root slipped from the great tree and wrapped gently around Rowan's wrist. Energy surged. A vision of every villager, every spirit, every animal touched by the moonvine's wild magic. Rowan's heart battered in her chest, but she did not let go. One by one the spirits approached, touching Rowan, then Kellen, then Ash. A magpie perched on Rowan's shoulder, whispering, Balance is paid in change, child. Are you ready to carry its weight? I am, Rowan whispered, her voice resolute. The heart tree quivered, accepting the return. Light flashed. Rowan's mind exploded with sights and sounds, storms and seasons, feasts and funerals, old promises whispered at dawn. She felt the fear, hope, and fury of the forest, woven with her own. Ash's hand steadied her. We're with you, Rowan. Let it in. Kellen knelt by her side, tears streaming openly. We started together, we end together. Remember that. The spirits began a chant, rising until the entire grove seemed to sing. The ground softened, the air warmed, and for a moment all was right. But as the ritual reached its peak, the village bell rang in the distance. Rowan's eyes snapped open. Some dark force had not yet yielded, and the balance was still shifting. Their final trial lay ahead, just as dawn broke beyond the twisted trees. Rowan struggled to her feet as the echoes of the bell crashed through the woods. All around, the spirits flickered, uneasy. The heart tree's glow dimmed, and ash-colored mist began to swirl from between its roots. Something ancient and angry twisted in the shadows, not appeased by their offering. Ash stepped beside Rowan, face etched with worry. It's not over. The pact isn't just about return. It's about trust, the giving up of control. There's one more price, and it's not mine to pay. Kellen stepped back, jaw clenched. What does it want? We gave it the truth, the moon vine, even our memories. What else is left? A deep shaking voice rolled from the roots, not spirit nor human but both. One must stay. A guardian to keep the gate and remember for all time what brought you here. Only then will mortal and wild be in balance again. Silence fell like a storm. Rowan's eyes met Kellen's. He gave a tiny, desperate shake of his head. Ash looked away, burdened by all he could not say. The villagers' faces flickered across Rowan's memory. Her mother with tired eyes, children laughing in summer's light, her empty cottage on the edge of dawn. I'll do it, Ash said suddenly, stepping forward. I'm already half of this place. If I stay, the spirits will have what they wish. Let Rowan and Kellen return. The spirits murmured, but the voice shook again. The choice is not yours, spirit-born. It must be a mortal. An honest heart that still belongs to the world beyond. Rowan's breath caught. She wanted to run. She'd never meant to risk this much, but as she turned, Kellen grasped her arm tightly. Rowan, you're needed in the village more than anyone. You heal. You give hope. Let me stay. I've made my peace. Rowan shook her head, tears blurring her vision. No, you have family who needs you. This is my fault. My hand stole the moonvine, so my hand will keep the gate. The spirits waited, the clearing humming with tension. No force, no bargain, no magic. Just a simple choice, heavy as mountains. Rowan looked at the path behind her, at all she learned and all she became. For the first time, she saw herself not as helpless, not as just the herbalist's apprentice, but as someone strong enough to shape fate. As the first rays of true dawn painted the heart tree silver, Rowan stepped forward, standing tall before the spirit host. The ground shook, not in anger but in finality. The last trial, hardest of all, was nearly over. But the story she knew now wouldn't end here. It would continue in every memory, every seed, every whispered promise in the new day. The world felt suspended as Rowan stepped within the ring of ancients. The heart tree opened a hollow at its roots, a space lush and glowing, inviting and eternal. The spirits and the forest itself seemed to hold their breath, waiting for the pact to be sealed. Ash reached out, voice breaking with urgency and longing. Rowan, you don't have to. She stopped him with a look, fierce and clear. I do, Ash. I can't hide from who I've become or from what I owe. If I stay, the balance is restored. But let me be the bridge, not a prisoner. Let me keep the way open for both worlds to care for each other. Kellen's big hands trembled at her shoulder. Rowan, no story ends with you just vanishing. Our village needs you. We all do. Rowan squeezed his arm, her steadiness shining brighter than any magic. Sometimes to save a place, you give up being a part of it. But you, both of you, promise me this. Carry the truth home. Teach them what we lost and won here. If the grove is respected, nobody else will have to pay this cost again. Ash knelt, bowing deeply. You changed everything. I won't forget. I promise. Kellen stood straighter, voice thick but strong. You gave me back my courage, Rowan. I'll make sure the village remembers you, the healer who saved us all. The spirits moved, encircling Rowan, their forms merging with gold light. Roots wound gently around her ankles, not trapping but connecting. Warmth flooded her. Not isolation, but unity. Her senses humming with every whisper of the woods and every heartbeat of the mountain. She didn't feel fear anymore. She felt purpose. The moonvine, now restored to the earth, burst into radiant bloom. The grove surged to life. Animal voices softened, riddles faded, the symphony of magic and village balancing anew. Rowan's memory, voice, and presence wove into the forest's very soul, as guide, healer, bridge, and vigilant heart. Back at the village, as dawn broke, Kellen and Ash emerged, tired, marked by loss, but transformed. The animals spoke no more riddles, the fevered dreams ceased. But in the woods, if one listened close, a laughter or a healing hand lingered on the wind. Children grew up learning to honor the twisted boundaries and to bring small offerings for the one who kept the peace. Many years passed, and tales spun of Rowan, the guardian of the twisted grove. Underdog become legend, a human heart holding the wild world and human hope in perfect, hard-won balance. The line between magic and mortal was not erased, but bridged by all she gave, and the village, her village, was never lost again.